We are back with the caster Curse. The podcast has returned for week number 4 already. Before you know it, we're already going towards those double numbers. I am joined once again by ThomSonic. My name is RoseBND,
Yo.
and thank you all for tuning in to episode 4 of the caster Curse. Real quickly, just like last week, I'm going to jump into the schedule so we know what is in front of us. We're going to talk a little bit about the LEC, because of course the second stage of the winter season has started right now.
And
After
it's
that,
fun.
we're going to... Yeah, it was really good. It was really good. We're going to talk a bit about Riot Forge, because they've announced some new games and some really excited ones at that. Song of the New Convergence, the Mage Seeker, we'll all get into it when we get there. After that, we got a little bit of a cheeky segment where both ThomSonic and I are going to sort of pitch a game or forge a game, how we like to call it. I really like that one. We're going to forge a game for you guys. We're going to talk about the future of League of Legends. What that entails, I'm not really going to tell you. You'll just have to wait and find out. There's also been some drama, of course, in the Benelux. We need to talk about Benelux United.
Wow.
If you know, you know. We'll get there. And then to end of the podcast this week, we'll talk a little bit about the controller versus mouse and keyboard debate, because some spicy stuff has happened in that scene with Apex Legends. But like I said before, we'll get there when we get there. We need to start with the basics, because ThomSonic, it's been a while again. How are you feeling, man? How are you doing?
I am doing very fine, and also the LEC is very fun to watch. So I'm really happy, actually. I feel like the LEC has been improving on the broadcast. It has been improving on the viewer numbers, and it has been improving on the quality of games, the number of games. Everything is looking good, and that is new because I'm not used to things looking good in Europe. I don't know about
Yeah.
you, but I feel weird.
I have to come up straight from the bat that I really liked your tweet about Trouble's interview, because I think I said 2 weeks ago, I was like, oh, I was not really a fan of Trouble's interviews, and she has improved a lot. And I think your tweet worded it perfectly, where these interviews feel way more normal, I guess, or a bit more casual, which makes it a lot more fun to listen to, instead of the classic questions of hey, what are you and your team gonna do to improve next match? And then you get this politically correct formed answer that you've heard
Yes.
50 times before. And Trouble doesn't do that. Because she's inexperienced, but maybe also because she really doesn't want to go that angle. But what she's doing, for me personally, is really working.
She likes to poke a little bit of fun as well, right? And for me, especially because I'm studying journalism, I really pay attention to interviews now and how people do it. She makes it seem like everything feels genuine, like a proper normal conversation you have with your friends. A bit of fun here and there, joking around, but still answering the questions. And that is actually very impressive to me for someone that hasn't done this for an awful long time. She has done some interviews, but not on this level, on this stage right away. So I'm actually very glad to see that, and the players seem to like it as well. So I'm a big fan. I hope she keeps on coming on to the shows and doing those interviews. And the games have been fun as well, because we finally have best of series again. I mean, we had that a long time ago. Not really best of series, but those were best of 2, where you can even draw in the LEC.
Yeah, I don't like best of 2s, personally. I really don't.
Me neither. I don't like it either. Also because, it's blue side, red side, and then if there is a meta where one of the stronger, you're done. But this time around, best of 3, I really like it. I don't know if you've watched a lot of the series, but almost every series was competitive.
Exactly, and that is something that I really didn't expect if we look at the groups, right? We knew that Group A was super close together, and last week both of us also said hey, we have no fucking clue who's gonna get on top of this. But when we looked over at Group B, we were yeah, there are clear favorites here. Surely it's gonna be them. But in the end, just like you said, it turned out to be pretty competitive, and I think that mostly has to go towards Astralis and PDS also just rising up to the occasion. I did not really expect that coming into this. I was okay, we have 2 clear weaker teams in this group compared to G2 and Mad Lions, but Astralis as well. Finn in the top lane is doing so amazingly good, and it's so exciting to watch, because this is not the Astralis that we're used to anymore. This is finally an Astralis that actually is up to pace with their competitors, and that's really nice.
Very interesting that you say Finn, because you remember the narrative we had for the past year, and even when we started this split, top laners don't matter in Europe.
True, yeah.
Astralis is playing well because of Finn. BDS is playing well mostly because of Adam, because that man is just a chat in the top lane.
Yeah.
Once again, these teams, which have European top laners, are now doing well with their side of the map, because they are playing carry champions.
It's our time to take over.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's something you definitely wouldn't expect, because I think if you've heard any cast around the world in this start of the season, everyone is saying holy shit, bot lane matters so much. You have to gank your bot lane early. If bot lane gets ahead, the game is over. But I mean,
Which I
just
still agree
perfectly.
with, to be honest.
I also still agree. Bot lane is still really broken, but it goes to show that it's not really that black and white, you know, and that is what makes the game a lot more fun, in my opinion. There's not one strategy that you can run, and that's never been the case. So BDS and Astralis both showing that, you know, if you have a cracked top laner, you can just like get some games here and there. But
You know what's the
looking
most
at
fun thing about the
yeah,
best
sure.
of? Sorry that I cut you off, but
Don't worry, don't worry.
like now in best of threes, people can actually play different champions than the normal ones. Just the fact that Astralis pulls out Twitch support, and
Did
it
it
completely
work
goes
though?
wrong.
Did
No,
it
it
work though?
completely went wrong. But you and I both said to each other, because it was like a Casio Twitch, we both were typing, "Let them cook. I want to see this. This is
Yeah,
fun."
true.
You know,
It was
something
really
like that
fun.
is so fun and new to see, and that's something you just don't get with best of ones, because there's just hit or miss, so you're not gonna try a lot of things.
Yeah, yeah, and that's also what like made the LCK always a lot more exciting for me, and the LPL as well, because you know you have more matches, and for me it was always like, oh yeah, we're gonna watch. I'm just gonna say random teams. We're gonna watch Fnatic G2. It's the match of the week, awesome, and then it's one game and it's done. But if you have Fnatic G2 now, for example, you have 3 games and it's gonna go like full left and right, and yeah, that's really cool. And secretly, I still wish that we would get fearless mode. I think you know what it is, right? Where if you pick
Yeah.
a champion, then in the next game you're not allowed to pick that champion. I think that is a fucking brilliant idea, but it's not really the best thing. I think if you want to have like a truly competitive experience, but fearless mode, really fun idea. But for best of threes, for what we have right now in this winter season, I'm content. Honestly, this format change has been really, really positive for me.
I didn't expect it to be this good and this well organized. So yeah, I'm happy. I am a little bit sad though that SK and Heretics both lost their games, because I really
Yeah.
wanted one of them to make it, and now one of them is going out. I think tomorrow or the day after. Friday is right. Friday to play again.
Do they play on Fridays? I think
I see.
they never
Oh no,
play on Fridays
Saturday.
anymore, right? Yeah,
Saturday, right? Yeah,
I also still have to
Saturday.
get like used to it. I'm like Friday night coming at home, I'm like, oh, let's watch some LEC, and it's like,
Yeah.
wait, that's on Monday now.
I mean, LCS is tonight even.
True, LCS is gonna be on Wednesdays. That is so weird.
Okay, you remember what I love to do? I was watching LEC like back in the day, and after LEC was done, you're like, that was fun. Let's play a game for myself, and then on my other monitor, I put on the LCS.
Yeah,
I can't do that anymore.
No,
The LCS is never again after LEC days.
Yeah, true. And I don't even really know what to think about it. Like LCS on Wednesdays, like on one hand it's good, right? Because now from like Wednesday up until Monday we'll have League of Legends every night, or well at least the Western best regions, I guess.
Fair
LCS and LEC, which is kind of good. But it's exactly what you said, because I used to do it as well. It's like you watch LEC with like your full focus, you're watching the teams because you're invested, and then you're just gonna play for the boys. You watch them LCS on the side. That was amazing. That was also always the way how I watched LCS. So fortunately, that's not a thing anymore. I guess you can still do it, because I don't know what time they start now, for us at least in the Netherlands. I think it's still like 10 p.m., 11 maybe?
I think it's pretty late. I think it was like 11 or 12 even. Sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh no, it was 12 because they had like a delay of 1 hour, which we talked about last podcast. Check that out, by the way.
True.
But yeah, I think it was 11. I don't know why I'm thinking of this, but you said Western teams and Eastern teams, and I'm like, okay, yeah, you're right. LCS and LEC are not on the same days. It's almost fully booked the entire week. Same goes for LPL and LCK. But very weird. You know the league in Australia, like Oceania?
Yeah, the LCO? Is it the LCO? I
Yeah.
think it's the LCO.
Do they fall under the West or the East? Because
They
technically,
fall under
geographically,
Oceania, no? I think that's legit just their own like region.
yeah, but
They
we
don't
say
have-
the West. I know, but we say the West, NA and EU, and we say the East is LPL and LCK. But if we were to say Oceania, would that be East or West? Because geographically they're East, but gameplay-wise they're even worse than NA. So it's like, is it West or is it East?
I mean, I guess technically it's East, because if we see if we see Korea and China as Eastern teams, which they are, of course, Australia is literally beneath them. So why would they not be East? Like, of course, if you're an American and you've never heard of any other country other than your own, and you have like a geographical world map where America is in the center, which looks really cursed. By the way. If you've never seen that map with America in the center, it looks so fucking cursed.
Okay, but your heart's flaming now, Ross, because you
Yeah,
say like,
I'm
oh, you
sorry.
don't know any country other than your own.
Hey, I've seen these YouTube shorts, where people go onto the like street and they ask people like, "Hey, have you ever been to like the city of Italy?" And they're like, "No," and they don't even say like, "Oh, it's a country." And I'm like, "Come on, man."
Okay, but bro, if I give you like a map of America, can you name me like 10 states?
I think I can actually. Yes. I think I can.
In the correct spot, right? Not just name them,
Yeah,
but
of
just
course,
in the
but
correct
I
spot.
think I genuinely can. I think I genuinely can.
Okay, let's genuinely do this like as another segment sometime.
Yeah. All right.
Because I really want to find out, because I think that's bullshit. I think that's utter bullshit. And now don't study it, by the way. Don't study.
I won't.
Okay.
Maybe I will. I'm getting really scared right now. Anyways, yeah, LEC, it was a banger. We've got the best of threes. Do you have like any very maybe controversial opinions coming into this? Because now we have G2 and Koi who have basically locked themselves in, and then we have, you know, Vitality, Team Heretics, Astralis, BDS, and Mad Lions who still have to play for it. Who do you think is gonna make it? That's actually the question I want to ask you. Who do you think is gonna make it?
I do have I can do a prediction and a controversial opinion.
Yo, I love those. Let's go.
Vitality is not going to make it.
Vitality is not going to make it. Why not?
Yeah.
I feel like Vitality is better than you think they are. Still.
But okay, they got kind of smacked by Koi though.
Yeah,
like,
but Koi is just really good. Like Koi found their footing, you know.
Yeah, okay, Koi found their footing, but we didn't expect him to be this good against Heretics. Vitality struggled as well. I'm pretty sure one game was very close and they managed to close it out in the end, but Jankos did a little bit of griefing the last game. If he didn't do that, I think Heretics had a pretty good chance.
True.
They're not looking that strong as they were doing, and in the past I said, okay, they're trying things out. I think they're still a very good team, just like G2. I think G2 is still the best, of course. But now I'm like, I am doubting myself because Vitality just needs to listen to their team, which is put Bo on carry, win game. Like, I don't want to see him on Sejuani. I just want to see him on carry champions, and then they win.
Yeah, but also that I don't think is that black and white. It's not like, oh, we can put Bo on carry to win the game. Because I feel like it really matters on who you're playing against, if Bo can even play carry. Because, for example, if your bot laner is gonna play like weak side because you want to play carry jungler and they just get shit stomped by the enemy bot lane because they can't deal with them, then that's another problem that you have to think about, right? Is it a good angle for our jungler to go carry if we lose basically the entire map because of it? And I feel like that's why we see Bo and more supportive junglers more often than not, because their laners cannot really like take the weak side role upon them. I guess that's the way to put it, but you know, that's just my boosted ass caster face saying this. I might be completely wrong.
What I'm doing right now, I'm looking at the Vitality match history. We're getting facts out here, okay? They lost 2 games in the regular season, and on those games, Bo played Sejuani and Maokai.
Okay.
Those are the only games that they lost. I am now trying to find the lovely games against... Oh no, we have a different page for that now.
Do you have a different page
annoying.
for it?
Yeah, there's a different page for it. That's actually very annoying. Match history, can we find that somewhere? Hello? Leaguepedia? No, we can't. Okay, I'm getting grieved. Okay, I'm gonna find this out.
It's not helping.
Okay, please, do some filler thing. You know, when we were doing like Elite Series and we had like a pause, someone's mic was dead.
You get a red screen of death, Kit Kats thrown into your face.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. You need to fill now. I'm
gonna have to tell this complete bullshit story now. That was lovely.
Sure.
Anyways, yeah, we can talk a bit more about the LEC when you're looking up your stuff, because I frankly am still really surprised at the level of G2. I've said this coming into the season where I was like, okay, this team is really good, but I really have to see how, you know, it all works together. And I'm once again pivoting to that jungle role where I really felt like in the beginning that Yike was not going to be able to implement himself in that team. But I keep getting surprised, man. Like, this team is not only really fun to watch, but they just show week in, week out that just they mean business. You know, they come here to do business. Hans Sama is performing great, and I feel like if they can get this like positive curve, and if they can keep it up, they can become a real menace. And I don't want to jump the gun at all, but I'm getting those like 2019 flashbacks, you know, like, well, G2 winning MSI 2018, 2019, suddenly we're popping off as well. Like, I don't want to jump the gun, but maybe it works. Anyways,
he lost the Wukong game against Heretics, and he lost a Sejuani game and a Nidalee game against Koi. That's it. So I guess 2 Sejuani, 1 Maokai, 1 Nidalee, and 1 Wukong game. Those are the only ones that he lost. Majority of them are not like hard carries. So, conclusion, I am right.
do you want me to say it as well? Does that give you like satisfaction?
I mean, actually, yes. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it.
You're right, ThomSonic. You're right.
Thank you, man. Oh, my heart. It is filled with determination.
Oh. But yeah, the new round is gonna start. It's gonna be week 2, so I feel like I don't think Koi and G2 are gonna play at all anymore, right? No, they're not. I need to
No.
still figure out this.
Up until the
I'm still
playoffs.
confused. I think I just before the podcast started, I was like talking to ThomSonic about it, and I was like, "Oh yeah, this Swiss format is great." And then Thomas was like, "This is not Swiss. What the fuck are you talking about?" And it just gave me this like realization moment of like, "Yeah, I still have no clue what I'm talking about."
Yeah, you just like to throw terms out there, you know.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
sound-
true. Like this is like show that you know what you're talking about, but you actually have no clue.
Yes, basically like every motivational speaker ever.
Yeah, exactly. They just ramble, and then it's like, "Oh my god, that sounds so great," and meanwhile they're like, "Yeah, sure, man, sure."
True. Actually, accurate
Oh.
representation.
Yeah. Who are we
Maybe
gonna
you
send
need
to?
to.
Oh, go ahead. What do you want to say?
Maybe we need another motivational speaker for Fnatic.
True. I feel like they need like a second one. Like after I think their coach was the first one, right? If he's done, they get into the car. The second guy turns around. It's like, okay, guys, listen up.
Now, actually, the motivational
Yeah,
speech.
yeah, yeah. Now the actual one. Who are we gonna send to MSI though? Is it gonna be G2?
Okay. This one is difficult. I actually don't know
That's why I'm asking your ass.
because I feel like we're gonna get Koi G2, Matt. There's no doubt about that, and the fourth one will be Vitality or SK, I guess, or Heretics. Actually, I don't know which one of those three will make it out, but I think Vitality will fumble. I still feel like G2 has the best papers, but it's going to be a final between G2 and Matt or G2 and Koi. And I don't know who's going to win it.
I have a lot of faith.
Also,
Mad Lions. Oh, yeah,
winter
go ahead.
season. The winter season winner doesn't go to MSI, right? It's the spring winner that goes to MSI.
It's the spring winner. Yeah. Sorry, I don't know why I said go to MSI. It's not my day, guys. I'm sorry. I'm gonna say a lot of weird shit. I'm gonna say a lot of weird shit today. I'm gonna warn you.
Who's going to win winter?
Who's gonna win winter? I mean, I still feel like it's G2. I do have a lot of faith that Mad Lions is really gonna pull back, and especially Niski, because he's been smurfing, especially this last week as well. When we got into the best of threes, like he was playing so ridiculously well. Given maybe it was against Dayor who blind picked Rise or counter picked Rise into his Azir. That went terribly wrong. Then we go into game 3. He just does it again. But yeah, I don't know. Niski was playing really well, and it was really enjoyable to see that Mad Lions, finding their footing as well, because their group stage was good, but they didn't really show what I wanted to see when we came into best of threes. But they have definitely worked on their mistakes, and then the biggest mistakes for me personally were, if you look at Mad Lions, a lot of stuff is happening around the bot lane just because that bot lane is very chaotic, and I feel like that's really good. But in the group stage, it was chaotic in a way of like, okay, we're at this point we're just flipping fights. Carsey either gets ahead or it doesn't. But in the games against Astralis, which I at least personally saw a lot more control from them, and that was definitely an improvement that I wanted to see.
I mean, they've definitely been doing well. It's also very fun to watch, which is always a good thing. So I'm not necessarily impressed, but I am happily surprised about the way that things have been going on.
Did you think this team was going to perform with like Hilly going together with Carsey and then?
I thought it was going to be ooga booga. We go on everything we see. It's
When
a
I
bit
engage,
more
we jump in.
streamlined, and I think the reason why it's more streamlined is actually because of Photon, and not because. The idea I have behind this, they are more streamlined and more focused because of Photon, and not because he has a different playstyle, but because of the language barrier. I think the language barrier works in their favor, because this time you really need to communicate to Photon and the other way around as well, what you want to do, what is going to happen.
But
you can't just
you're talking
randomly go
about
for plays.
Photon now, but Photon. is
Sorry,
not Mad
Chasey.
Lions, right? Yeah,
Excuse me.
It's okay. It's
Chasey.
okay. They're yellow teams.
Yes.
It's hard to like keep separate.
Same
It's
jersey.
okay.
Same. Okay, now you have like better to me, so it's fine.
It's gonna be a disaster podcast. I feel like we're gonna keep this up.
No, it's going to be great. Don't worry about it. But I actually feel like the language barrier is helping them in that case, because you have to think more about what you're going to do, communicate it very well. You get put back a little bit, and that's actually the put back that they need to have proper aggression, controlled aggression, as I like to call it in the past.
Yeah, for me, that's always a very interesting thing to look at when we get these imports. Like, first of all, how good is your English? And second of all, how do we actually communicate in game? Perks gave us a lot of insights on how this goes with Vitality, where, they're literally just learning these, like, exact phrases of, like, push wave, go Baron, get vision, jungle, and there's this woman on Twitter as well. I came by her. I don't remember her name, but she's basically, like, an English teacher to a lot of these pro players either coming to America.
Oh,
and she
yeah, I
also
know what
did
you mean.
Bo, and it was also really interesting to find out how she actually teaches the players, because of course you're not gonna teach them how they can ask people where the pool is in the city or something. No, you're gonna teach them like esports related stuff and like specifically League of Legends related stuff. So there's a very big process going on around that, and it's a bit more impressive than I first thought. But it goes to show also that when imports come to our region, they really want to learn English. Like there was this funny clip where Photon was learning a lot of these memes, and then every game day he gave like another meme. So he was like, "Oh guys, I'm gonna cook in the top lane," or like "No cap, no cap." It was hilarious.
Also, I found the translator who's helping them with Korean players. She's called Sophie Ann, and her Twitter handle is Sophie Ann1 on Twitter. If anybody wants to see it, she also helps Piosik, for
Shout
example,
out.
and they have been having a fun amount of things on Twitter.
Have you been? This is a quick sidetrack. Have you been following anything of the LCS?
I have been watching the games I really want to watch, which are mostly C9 and TL games and FlyQuest actually.
I was gonna say no FlyQuest, bro. They're cooking it up there. Like Prince has literally came there. He's like, yeah, this is just my league right now.
Okay, why do you think that? Why do you think it's Prince's league?
Because he's like topping all the stats, if I'm not correct, if I'm not wrong. And they're like legit. They have not got a single loss rate, right?
Correct. I personally don't think that they win because of Prince.
Okay. Is it Spica or the mid laner? The mid laner is also really good.
I think Spica is like the GOAT. And together with Vikla, they do so much shit. Like Spica is still underrated, man. Like
he comes from his like TSM split, right? His TSM split was that bad that people just have no faith in you anymore.
I mean, fair enough, but he's the best jungler in the LCS right now, and it's not even close. Like it's honestly not even close. Spica and Vikla together make it so easy for the rest to play the game. And right now, yeah, if you're ahead as an ADC, it is so easy and so fun to play the game. They even did this or that on the LCS, and I think I heard it in the podcast The Dive as well, where they were like, hey, this pentakill that Double Lift got, was it Double Lift or was it Zeri? It was
Zeri.
It wasn't the AD carry. It was the actual champion why you get the pentakill, you know? So that works in Prince's favor as well with such a good team.
That is true. And if your team plays around you as an AD carry, I think we've all been there. Like, it feels good, you know? You get everything, you get every wave, you get every jungle camp, and all. Before you know it, you have like 4 items in 25 minutes. You can delete everyone if they even dare to like step into your screen. It's really fun. But FlyQuest, not gonna lie, what I'm waiting for now is some international performances, or at least some international tournaments, because I reckon if they keep it up like this, then of course FlyQuest is gonna be going to MSI, and if this team actually manages to be as good international as they are domestically, we suddenly get a whole different view of NA. Like, okay, maybe we do have a lot of imports and we have a really good AD carry and a really good mid laner, and Spica has found another might, but it would be really fun to see another LCS team finally, you know, like come back into the running after what's been like a while.
I think it would be very fun and also good for the viewership there, because it has been increasing, but not that much. So I hope for the LCS that they're performing, because we like the meme on NA, but I actually really like watching LCS. I used to watch LCS more than I watched LEC. I didn't even watch LEC at the beginning. I just watched LCS. I actually set my alarm at like 1 in the evening, 1 at night, to watch LCS games and then go back.
When was this? Was this like years ago, or still pretty recently? Like, was it already LEC, or was it still like European League of Legends?
I think it was still European. I think I was in high school. I think I was like a second year, and it was my second year in high school, so it's like 6 or 7 years ago.
Okay,
so that would be season 6 or season 7. I literally woke up in the middle of the night to watch TSM play. Yeah, it was that bad. And then I started watching EU.
Yeah, I also started watching LCS, but it was because Piglet went to Team Liquid then. Yeah. I also just only watched for Piglet. Like, I didn't really care about League Esports back then. But yeah, it was really fun. Anyways, I feel like we should round off a whole LEC LCS topic right here, because we're already like going on pretty long about it. So we've got a big agenda right in front of us, because right now we need to talk a little bit more about Riot Forge, because they've been blessing us with some new content. 3 new games have been announced: Song of Nunu, Convergence, and the Mage Seeker, showing that, you know, Riot Forge is not sitting still on their ass. They're doing stuff. It's coming. Even though Song of Nunu got like leaked or sort of like announced, I think already over a year ago, where it was like in the league client as well. You could see like Song of Nunu celebrate, get this Nunu bundle, but it's coming. And are you excited for one of these 3?
I am very excited for the first one is going to be released. And a couple of months ago, it was leaked that the Mage Seeker, that was going to be a game about Silas.
Yeah.
And now it's just coming already in spring. It's in like 1 or 2 months. It's upon us. That's actually insane. And it's looking like a roguelike Hades-esque game with graphics which are a lot 8-bit indie Celeste style, which I absolutely adore. So I really want to play that game. I think they've been doing a great job. Ruined King was the first one that they released where I was like, damn, this is actually looking really good. They're staying true to the champion, staying true to the lore, and I fucking love it. And I really hope they don't mess it up, but I don't think they will.
No, Riot Forge, their track record is really good, right? If we look at like their past few games as well, you already named the Ruined King was great. I think Legend of Runeterra for that specific audience is an amazing addition to like the League universe. Of course, you got TFT, which kind of comes from Riot Forge. It got released before Riot Forge was a thing, but basically the entire team of TFT just went into Riot Forge to think about other different games. And then you also have, of course, the big one, Valorant. Valorant's been huge and it's been growing exponentially ever since it basically got released as an esport, but also as a casual game itself. Riot Forge is doing good shit. That's basically what I'm talking about. They're doing good, and I also have big faith in these 3 games that they'll be really nice, because some of them might be a bit more niche. I'm not exactly sure what kind of game Song of Nunu falls into, like what kind of category. It's a niche one, it's a very special one, but that also makes it so that they can, do a bit more extra stuff with it and a bit more fun stuff with it.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Nunu was like this exploration puzzle sort of game.
Yeah, it's a puzzle one. Yeah, exactly.
Well.
Yeah,
I'm just not sure about the Echo game. I don't like it when I look at the trailer.
Yeah, but we also haven't heard a lot about the Echo game, right? I think is this like the first teaser that we had, because I never heard of Convergence before.
I've heard
you
it.
sent me the tweet.
It's been known for a long time. I think it's like 2 or 3 years that Convergence has been teased.
Okay, then I'm tweaking. Anyways, if anyone at home wants to know like what we're talking about, go to Twitter. Riot Forge gave us like a little teaser. It's 1 minute long, where you get like the 3 games that are being announced. So once again, Song of Nunu, Convergence, the Mage Seeker, and the Mage Seeker, I think you worded it perfectly. It's a roguelike, and that's a really good thing for me, because I really wanted to get into roguelikes. Been doubting a long time to get Hades or not, and I feel like I'm just going to start with this, because...
Have you never played Hades?
I've never played Hades. I've watched a lot of Hades. I know basically the entire game, but I've never played it myself.
Bro, it's like, I think it's on Steam sale right now for like 10 euros. Please.
Okay, maybe I should actually get it.
It's so good. It's so fun. I haven't finished the game yet, but it's so fun to just sometimes randomly play that and just run through it. I've never played a roguelike before. That was actually my first roguelike.
And I think that's the fun thing, right? Because like my boosted ass has been playing League of Legends since 2013, so that's like legit 10 years already now. So I have to get used to booting up a game and not being stuck in it for 40 minutes because I'm on solo queue duty, It's nice to have a game that you can boot up, play 20 minutes of it, and just leave again. Instead of always like forcing yourself to like sit down for a longer time because your game just takes so long. So yeah, maybe you should venture out to a different type of game. But speaking of different type of games, ThomSonic, we've got something specially prepared for this week.
Do we?
Yeah, we do. And you even made a very, very nice intro of it. I keep loving this. Thank you so much. So everyone, please get ready for ThomSonic's beautiful intro of our new segment.
The Caster Curse. Weekly segment. Forge a game.
Forge a game, pun intended, right? Forge, you know what it is. We're gonna pitch some games to you guys, or more importantly, towards each other, that have to do something with the League universe, with the League IP. So ThomSonic, I'm gonna drop the ball in your court. What have you got for me? What are you thinking? No, you already. You still have to think.
I still have to think. You already had your plan. You told me like I have this great idea. So I'm just gonna sit back and then really start to think about my idea. Okay,
right. So I want you to close your eyes for this one. Whether you're at home listening to the podcast, at work, whether you're driving, close your eyes real quick and just get in there with me. So we've got this new Riot Games game coming out. And it's very exciting because we all know what big success Elden Ring was, right? The Souls-like game from Software was amazing, was great, with all these big bosses that you have to fight, this big feeling of adventure. Why don't we put this in the League of Legends universe? Imagine playing for someone like Lucian, you get your guns taken away from you, so you need to pick up these like swords, you start from nothing, you wander the Shadow Isles, suddenly Thresh comes by, whips your ass, he's the final boss of the game, goes away again, and you have to fight through hordes of like fucking monsters. You come around big bosses, landmarks that we know in League of Legends, and then suddenly you have to find Karthus because he is a boss, and then Maokai comes by, and I can just imagine a Souls-like game with League of Legends characters, that's gonna feel so epic. Imagine this huge battle arena, suddenly like fucking Mordekaiser just jumps down on you and starts whacking with his fucking like, I don't know what is it an axe? He doesn't have an axe, but anyways,
Nightfall.
you know what I mean. Nightfall, thank you. You know what I mean. That would be so great. Give me a Soulsborne League of Legends game, please, Riot Forge. I'm begging you. I will lock myself up in my room and I will not come outside for like 2 weeks straight.
Okay, can you do me a favor, Ross?
Yeah, sure.
Do you have your browser open?
Yeah, I do.
Just search up a Bloodborne and press on images.
I mean, I know what Bloodborne is.
But look at the image. The image in which he's standing. Isn't that like exactly Lucian with his 2 guns?
It looks like Lucian. Exactly. It actually does. It actually does. He has like the same coat thingy with like a little split in the middle. 2 gun-ish like things. Yeah, that's banger. That's banger.
And it's literally a Souls game as well.
It is. And it's an amazing one as that. If you haven't played it, please do. It's really good. But what do you think of the idea? Would you ever play something like this? I don't know if you're into like Souls games at all.
I would probably play it just because it's League related, but I'm so bad at Souls games, man. Like, I have tried Bloodborne. I didn't get very far in Bloodborne.
But that's part of the experience. Like, everyone is shit. Everyone is shit. You need to like just get good. Like, that's
there was like this other game as well that I tried to play, but I like failed miserably, and I just quit because I couldn't beat the first boss. I'm trying to. No, because that one was pretty recent, right?
Sekiro was 2019, I think. 2018, maybe even. It got Game of the Year. I don't know.
I played Nioh. Nioh is not a Souls game, but it's like the same kind of vibe where you hate your life because every fight is so goddamn difficult.
I mean, I played a lot of Elden Ring, and Elden Ring was my first like Soulsborne game because I always also said to myself like, hey, this is not for me. Who likes dying 30 times in a row and just, you know, keep going, keep running into keep running into the same wall. But I don't know, when the switch like flips and you get that feeling, or I remember for Elden Ring specifically, I was stuck on this boss for like 6 hours straight. It was 5 a.m. and I finally beat that motherfucker. You feel on top of the world. Sitting there like, it's 5 a.m. I didn't care. I was like, let's go, you know, screaming. I was like ecstatic. It was amazing. And that is what makes those games really good. It's like, yeah, it can be a pain in the ass sometimes. And sometimes you're really thinking like, what am I doing to myself? But that makes the payoff even better, you know, and even more worth it in my opinion.
That's fair enough. I think it's really fun if you finally get that achievement. There are not a lot of games who push you to do that, but the ones that do feel like you actually achieved something big in real life, which...
Yeah, that's how I felt when I beat the motherfucker. Yeah, exactly.
It's like you finally like beat your bench record, you know? That's the vibe you get to it.
Yeah, like, oh my god, let's go. We finally did it. So yeah, Souls-like League of Legends game I would literally pay hundreds for that. That would be so
I rate it an 8.5 out of 10.
8.5. I like that. Do you have your game for me? Because I'm very curious of what you're like coming up.
I have come up with something, but it's going to be a little bit rough on the edges. So we need to think a little bit about it more, perhaps, and you might even add to it if you have an idea. Okay?
It's Animal Crossing, isn't it?
No, it's not Animal Crossing.
Okay.
But no, kind of. No, it's not.
All right, hit me.
Close your eyes. There we go.
I'm wishing.
Do you remember the game No Man's Sky?
Yes.
Okay, it is set in space, but this time you don't play as a person, you play as Aurelian Sol, creating the solar systems and planets in the universe of League of Legends. We start off with Runeterra. You fly around there, you get materials to make new planets, make new solar systems, and actually create your entire universe by yourself. That is the idea. But we need to add things into that to make it actually gameplay.
I mean, I see the angle, right? It gives me these like very vague roller coaster tycoon type of vibes where you like create your own shit, you know, you create your own world.
Galaxy.
Yeah, and I mean, like, honestly, a game around Aurelian Sol would be awesome because that character is just amazing, right? His lore is incredible, his visuals are great, his voice lines are perfect, basically. So I think there's definitely an angle to be found there. It definitely was not what I was expecting. Like, I mean, but you can go so many ways, right? You can go like fucking, I don't know, Mario Kart with League of Legends characters. You can do whatever, you can do whatever the fuck you want. There's so much, but there's definitely potential for your game, I think.
I thought like a good 5 minutes about this, you know. So honestly,
I think 5 minutes.
I think we have a very good idea here, but perhaps we can do even more with it, right? Like if we create the planets itself, it will actually create like this Runeterra vibe ecosystem and cultures and stuff. You can actually visit the planets and then look at how those things are going. Perhaps there are wars that you can intervene with.
Or
You can
hear
be
me
the
out.
god
Hear
that
me
you
out.
want.
Have
Yeah.
you ever played like civilization games, or like Rise of Nations or something?
Civilization 5, I've played a shit ton of.
So what if you like create Runeterra, right? And
Yes.
like you skip say 400 years into the future, and suddenly Runeterra's got like space travel and they're trying to like fuck up other planets. So you need to create another planet to fight the old planet that you created, and then it like gets a chain going, and it could be an angle. I'm just rambling though.
Honestly, I don't see a future in this.
No, maybe not. Maybe not. Also, what I just thought about, because I looked up like Sekiro's date, because I wasn't sure if it was 2019, 2018. It is actually 2019. Then I got the ad for The Last of Us because it's on HBO right now. Imagine. Yes. And I'm gonna go with the Lucian angle again, but it's like The Last of Us Lucian. You get all of these like wraiths that are fucking you up. You only have like 5 bullets in your gun, and you need to like sneak around the Shadow Isles. That'd be so fucking awesome. I don't know. I should have something with Lucian, I think.
Like a Sentinels game, perhaps.
A Sentinels game. Yeah, like you know, like zombie survival / RPG kind of thing, and just really like double down on the scary part, because I feel like that's really underused when it comes to League of Legends, because of course it is still a pretty low tier PG game. There's not really any horror in the game. I think the closest we have is Fiddlesticks.
Bro, no. Back in the day, I was scared shitless when Rengar ulted me.
Yeah, okay, like, fair
whenever I hear the sound, I would literally jump in my chair.
Yeah, true. Actually, really scary. But yeah, could be an angle for sure. Some very fun game ideas. Do you have any for the people at home? Put them in the comments. Let us know on Twitter. I'm very curious what people can come up with. But yeah, I don't think the Civilization Aurelian Soul game is gonna happen, Thomas. I'm sorry.
I'm sad, but I 100% know for sure now. Dino is gonna like reply to us like, I want to play a game with Timo in his little shrooms, you know, like
something. I plant my shroom. It's Animal Crossing, Timo. You just plant shrooms. Like
it's literally it's a Timo nuke. Literally Timo nuke.
Oh my god!
I'm gonna edit that now after this.
What did you say?
I'm gonna edit that now after this, like Timo's face on Tom Nook.
That's so cursed. That is so cursed. Please don't, for the safety of like humanity. Oh, the next point on our agenda, ThomSonic, is the future of League of Legends. It is one that I put in there because it's a bit related to the Riot Forge games that we just talked about. Because Riot Forge has been steadily releasing some solid games. Biggest one at that being probably TFT and Valorant. And it also goes to show that, you know, Riot Games finally established themselves as an actual game producer instead of just the League of Legends guys. They actually have like proper variety of games right now. And I want to talk a little bit about just League of Legends itself, because it's been 13, nearly 14 years now that it's got released. And, you know, is the time ticking? Is there, you know, ever going to be an end to League of Legends as we know it? Is there going to be a second game like League of Legends 2, like Overwatch just did? Like, what are you thinking if you have to, like, speculate?
I don't think we will ever get, like, a League of Legends 2, just because of the massive amount of in-game currency that you had to spend in League 1, I guess. But perhaps they would just call it League 2 and there are some updates. But I feel like with a game like League, you should update, like, every other week, with patch notes, with how the map looks, which preseason should be used for, by the way, guys. Anyway, like, I don't think we will get a League of Legends 2, but I do, however, think we are running towards our end. I feel like we have a couple of years left where it is really big, which is probably going to be 2 to 3 year maximum, because you now see that
like that's a really low number, though. That's a really low number.
I know, even though viewership is increasing a bit, but like prize pools are going down, if I'm not mistaken. We see other esports titles actually doing very good. Valorant is doing great. CSGO had, like, last week the highest number of players they ever had. That CSGO game is nuts, even older than League.
It's nuts, yeah.
That's actually insane. Apex is doing very good right now. Fortnite has always been a little bit now on the down low, but it's still very high. And I feel like League just can't get up. And I actually know the reason why.
But go ahead. Why do you think so?
League, like, level of starting the game is so incredibly high.
Mm-hmm.
And games like Valorant, CSGO, Apex, Fortnite, you just boot up the game and you play. And of course, you're probably not going to win it right away, but you'll get like 1 or 2 kills and you're hooked on it. For League, you need to spend so many hours just learning it that we don't give a lot of opportunities to new players to instantly step in. We've tried to do that, but still, the game is so complex that
Yeah.
it feels very hard for me to achieve that goal.
Yeah, I completely back up that point. I think I have a perfect example as well because I'm gonna move in with a friend of mine. It's actually gonna happen tomorrow, and of course the friend knows that I like play a shitload of League of Legends, and he's a little bit of a gamer himself, a little bit more on like the single player esque side, like some Red Dead Redemption, likes himself, you know, some story based games. But he was like, all right,
Nice.
I want to pick up League of Legends as well because he knows what the game is, he knows how it looks like, and he knows some characters, but of course he has no idea how to properly play. So I like over the past, what is it, 2 to 3 weeks, I think I've like been trying to quote unquote teach him the game, but seeing it from like a different perspective, or like seeing someone else completely relearn the game, you keep realizing like, holy shit, you need to know so goddamn much because we already have 100 plus champions with 4 different abilities, different passives, different audio tech ranges, different whatever. But there it doesn't stop. It's about items. It's about laning. How does that even work? How does gold work? How does macro even work if you want to pull it even like further? But also like how does just random like positioning work? Like he doesn't understand that if he is an 0-5 Caitlyn that he cannot walk into 3 people because he just doesn't realize that, you know, he will die really quickly. And it's so incredibly difficult to get into this game. And that's also the downside, right? Because it's basically just an exponential growth of how difficult it is going to be to get into the game because we keep releasing new stuff, people keep getting better, so the level of entry keeps getting higher as well with every single champion that gets released.
Yeah, I think it's really difficult to actually fix that. I don't think it can be fixed. That's why I also think the game is slowly dying because we don't. There are more people that quit the game than join the game, which makes sense.
Is that true though? Is that a fact? I don't know.
Pretty sure more people quit the game. Like, okay, by quit the game, I mean don't play it every day anymore. Because there were a lot of people, including me and you, that played the game every day for at least like 1 or 2 games for a long period of time.
For sure.
That number is going down rapidly. And I feel like the new players got in a bit because of Arcane. They've been doing good.
Yeah, we
But
definitely had
after
a
that,
big boost.
it quit again, right? And now they're making these new games that's both to get like a new audience in, but also to have like this scapegoat option to if League dies out and if things are going down, they at least now are not like a one game focused company
Yep,
anymore. They can
for
actually
sure.
spread themselves. They spread risks basically.
Yeah, true. I'm gonna come up with a statement here because I feel
Oh,
like League
statement
of
alert.
Legends League of Legends has been on the decline ever since the general gaming community went from, hey, we like MOBAs a lot, to we like what's the what's the thing about like Fortnite and PUBG again? What is it again? Battle Royales. Thank you, Thomas. You're so helpful. Anyways, you had the switch like I think it was around 2016, 2017. Before that, before Fortnite came out, before Fortnite and PUBG boomed, you had so many different MOBAs releasing. You had, of course, Smite coming out. You had Heroes of the Storm. You had all of these different MOBAs that released because people were really interested in MOBAs. People were really interested in, of course, the existing ones, League of Legends, Dota, but also the newer ones. And then that suddenly started dying down because Battle Royale started to get so popular. You got PUBG, you got Fortnite, you got H1Z1, you got all these different types of Battle Royales. Warzone is also a big contributor to that. And I feel like ever since we swapped from MOBAs to Battle Royales, you know, League has slowly started to decrease in popularity because give me a game that is a MOBA that has released in like the last 4 years. I cannot name you one. I have no clue. I've not heard of a new MOBA releasing in so long.
The only ones that I've heard of are like MOBAs that already exist going to mobile phone.
Yeah, exactly, and that is like the big angle right now. That's also a big market because in the East, like mobile gaming is really popular. For example, like Wild Rift is super big there in like China and Korea and stuff like that. But an actual new MOBA, I have not heard of in a while.
And in the trend of our like Forge a game setting, like segment for the week, do you think a League of Legends battle royale and like a third or fourth person would be a thing that could happen?
That would be really cool, but
We already have a lot of characters.
we do. But would you? I'm just gonna fucking pick Lucian again. If you say you would pick Lucian, like, do you then also like drop onto the battlefield with his weapons, or do you legit just have his skin? Because I feel like for competitive integrity, you do need to have like a level playing field, right?
What would be cool is that you have like the same abilities that he normally has, but like at the lowest level. And while you're playing the game in the battle royale, you slowly upgrade your abilities as you go. And it can be by either finding
Ooh.
items pickups or by getting kills, getting like certain goals. For example, Lucian needs to kill this amount of enemies, and then his ultimate will upgrade and do more. I think that is a way to balance that out, which could give you a unique playstyle.
Oh no. Can already imagine. Battle Royale. You're like the only guy left. You see in the top left like 2 players or like 3 players remaining, including you. You're like, I got this. And then suddenly fucking Twitch Lulu pops up. You're like, yeah, it's done. It's done, boys. They got Twitch Lulu Battle Royale.
Well,
We're fucking done here.
it's like a one person battle royale, right? No teams allowed.
Yeah.
And we don't. Oh, actually, how the fuck would you do that with enchanters though, and with tanks? How do you balance that out? Do they have more HP or is it just their kit?
Yeah, it's really difficult, I feel like, to get a proper balance there, because there are always going to be champions that are, you know, more suited for a battle royale type playstyle. I'm instantly thinking towards someone like a Sivir or a Zeri that get a shitload of movement speeding and just run away from you if it's like too dangerous. Because what are you going to do as like Ornn when there's like mobility champions against you? Like, you can never reach them. But maybe you can get like summoners in there or something. I don't know. It's weird.
Like imagine like you're playing Lucian, right? And you're like walking around and you're trying to shoot people left and right. And then out of nowhere, you look to the left and there's like this big belly flopping Gragas like flying your way.
Bomba.
Literally bomba, man. Like how
Literally
cool would
bomba.
that be? How cool would that be?
Oh, that would be great, actually. Maybe it is the future of League of Legends. Maybe we're gonna go to another PUBG style game. Would be pretty interesting though, not gonna lie, if they actually would do something like that. Because it also is not that like too far-fetched of an idea. There were also like a lot of speculations when they released Valorant that they were gonna be like, oh, they're gonna probably release also a Battle Royale mode for this, because Battle Royales were huge, were booming. I'm not exactly sure how it goes with that right now, but they used to be, so yeah.
100%. Like basically, I even forgot about Valorant for a second there. They already have like the movement and the character models basically done in that style, right? In the like the two-dimension perspective, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So they could literally do it. I think it's a challenge for Riot Forge. If you're listening to this podcast, you know our Twitter. You can send us DMs for more ideas.
They're here, bro. At RoseBND Cast, at ThomSonic and RoseBND. If you don't want to contact us, at the Cast Curse. It's all that easy. You know where to find us. Anyways, so much for the future of League of Legends. Let's hope we keep existing at least for a little bit longer, because frankly I still like the game a lot, you know. I still enjoy playing my games. I enjoy getting my my daily solo queue grind in. I think for you it's also still an enjoyable game. You're just really bad at it, so of course then it's a bit more difficult to enjoy it.
It's only fun to play with friends.
I mean, yeah, nothing beats like a 5-stack, right?
I hate solo queue with a passion, but I still play. Anyway, go on.
Yeah. We need to talk about some drama, because it's been, what is it, 47 minutes, and we've not talked about drama yet. We're like, oh boy. Can you please introduce what the fuck has been going on in the Benelux again? Guys, what are we doing?
Throwing me under the bus, eh? Once again. It's still ThomSonic that has to tell you anything is going to happen. Anyway,
what the
Benelux United had 5 players going into the split. Many teams have 5 players going into the split.
Yeah,
well,
true.
Every team has 5 players. Now they don't.
Fact.
They have 1 left from their original lineup, which is T-Chokes. The rest of them left. I always forget how to pronounce T-Chokes name.
I think it's Chokes. I despise the pronunciation T-Chokes. I really hope that that's not the true pronunciation, but if it is, please change it.
I think you're right, actually. Chokes. We will just get Chokes.
Yeah.
Now, we don't know exactly what happens, but all we do know is that 4 players have left the team with interesting circumstances, and there are now 4 new players. There has been a lot of talking back and forth on Twitter between old players and regarding, or like pointing it towards management. Again, we don't know what is going on there, so I can't pick sides or tell you anything about that. But what we do know is that they didn't go apart from each other in peace. I think that's the best way to put it.
Yeah, they put it out there as well, that it was not in peace. The players, especially Lozy, questionable tweets, like, and that's the thing, right? Like, we said this before the podcast as well, and I want to just come out saying this, like, hey, we decided to make this podcast to talk about the shit that we want to talk about. We cannot get around this, but we have no clue what the fuck's going on. So take a lot of what we're saying with a grain of salt, because we frankly have no clue what happens behind the scenes. So we also cannot burn any bridges with people. But you know, if you're gonna start quote tweeting the thing and then calling people cocksuckers and stuff, I feel like that's just a little bit out of pocket, regardless of what the fuck may have happened, you know?
And of course, Rose and I like hear a little bit more than the average person does because we know a couple of people, right? We've been in the scene for like a longer period of time, but those are not things that we even want to share, even if we would know something, which we don't in the grand scheme of things. But the thing is, like, the things you see on the service level, if I was just a fan, if I was just a follower of someone, it only is going to hurt yourself, your brand, your entire image, if you come out and say things in a manner that are not just like politically correct. I don't really like saying it politically correct, but what I mean is just don't go around and say, hey, fuck you, you motherfucker, what you did there is completely blah, 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 blah. That is not going to help you in the long run. You just say, hey, we went apart, we disagreed on many factors. I think I have been mistreated. I hope the future holds good things for me. That would be a better response. Of course, it maybe is a little bit lackluster. You can be angry, but if a team is going to look at you right now and they see that, what are they going to think?
Classic. I mean, it happened to Chokes as well, right? He spoke out on Twitter and it literally cost him places on other teams. But I do feel like if you're gonna be playing on a professional level, I think a minimum of that is just an ERL, whether it's accredited or not. There's just some form of responsibility to be expected, because I know that, you know, not everyone that goes pro in League wants to win Worlds or wants to be the best player. Like, they also know, like, hey, this is probably my end stop. I can't really move past the level that I'm playing right now. But that still doesn't, you know, make you invulnerable to all those kind of things. I still feel like you should be responsible to a certain degree, because, like, people still look at you and look at what the fuck you're saying, and yeah, you just can't do those kind of things, man. Like, I kind of want to say grow up, but that might again be a bit too personal, and like I said, we don't really know what's going on. Yeah, so weird circumstances, but it ends up with Benelux United fielding 4 new players. Yeah, winning the first game, I think, when they did it, and then they lost the second. So we're gonna have to wait and see. Did they lose both? I thought they won the first, or was it Heat? I think I might be just confusing.
I'm gonna fact check it again.
Fact check my ass. I might be tweaking again, guys. Anyways, that's Benelux United for now. Pretty sad, because the team IMO was fun to watch, but yeah, sometimes not everything works out, unfortunately. Did they win their games? Did they lose them?
They lost against MCon yesterday, but they've only played 1 game with the new guys.
Did they not have the... Oh, wait, it's Wednesday. We're like in the middle of the week. Sorry, for some reason I felt like it was Friday. Yeah, so I was like, I have to have played 2 games. But yeah, tomorrow, a new chance. Benelux United, make us proud with the new squad.
Yeah, and final thing to add onto that though, of course, the new players that are coming in have nothing to do with any of this, I would imagine. Perhaps they do, but I don't think they have. So nothing is like pointed towards them. I'm not saying like do root or don't root for the team, but just be nice to the players that are coming in, because it's not their fault that shit is going on, right?
Exactly. Yeah, we're gonna have to wait to see how it all like turns out with Benelux United. But with that said, I want to go to the last agenda point. I introduced it a little bit when we got to the introduction. There's always been a debate between controller, mouse. Controller gets aim assist when you're playing FPS shooters. Mouse is more accurate because you have better dynamic movement. So I was laying in my bed, as always, and I was doing the classic doom scrolling. If you know, you know. YouTube shorts, they're like pulling you in. They're like a toxic in your brain, you know. And then I came by a YouTube short from the Score Esports, who I personally really like. And I'm just going to play it, because this guy explains it perfectly. There's like a few Apex Legends clips in between there. It takes a minute, so bear with us. After the short has been played, you're up to speed. You know everything you gotta know, so let's listen to it right now.
Beta's over. One of the best mouse and keyboard players in Apex Legends just won a championship using a controller.
Obviously, I'm biased, but I feel like I'm probably the only player that can maybe play as good as they are on mouse and key on controller.
A few months back, TSM superstar Imperial Hal got so sick of trying to tell everyone how overpowered controller aim assist was that he decided to prove it instead.
Yeah, controllers should just do everything, I guess, huh?
Yes, I'll show you.
Not only did Hal spearhead TSM to a 3rd international title, he was awarded an MVP trophy for his efforts.
I took a big risk playing controller and swapping to something that I haven't played in for a while, and it all paid off, so.
This makes Hal the only player in history to win titles on 2 separate inputs. Say what you will about aim assist, that is king shit.
They say it perfectly in the end. That is king shit. So to summarize, Imperial Hal, Apex Legends player and god at the game, got a world championship playing on mouse and keyboard. He was completely done with the fact that you've got crossplay in this game, so you're playing against people that are on PlayStation while you're on your PC, and these people on PlayStation, of course, are using controllers. Controllers get a lot of aim assist and FPS to like get them up to speed with how much motion you have with a mouse compared to the controller. And this pro player Imperial Hal was like, hey guys, this is way too overpowered. People were like, nah, it's fine, you have so much more with a mouse and a keyboard. So he was like, fuck it, I'm gonna prove you guys. Swaps over to the controller, gets another world championship, first player ever in the history of gaming to get a world championship in an FPS with mouse and keyboard and with a controller. That's insane, no, ThomSonic? Like, that's incredible.
Sorry, I'm playing Xayah on my controller.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get like master this time.
Oh, nice. Maybe you'll get it, but
Yeah, I may triangle my Q, and okay, I'm done with this bit. Anyway, yeah, actually, very interesting. I've known for a long time that the controller has had aim assist, and depends, of course, on the game what makes it stronger. But I've played shooters on PlayStation, I've played shooters on PC, and every time I hit more people on PlayStation, and I'm dog shit at the games. So I think there is a correlation.
Yeah. It's been a debate for a really long time, right? Like, what is better? And there are definitely arguments for both sides. Like, even I have difficulty to say, like, hey, this is clearly better. But now with Imperial Hal basically swapping to controller after playing mouse and keyboard for so long and getting a world championship, by the way. It's not like, oh, he wins a few pro games. He gets a world championship on controller. Just like how the Score Esports put it, I feel like the debate is over. Controllers are broken in Apex Legends. I have to say, make a side note, this is probably only Apex Legends specific. This does not necessarily go for everything, but what I wanted to go deeper into is something that I find quite weird, because you have Apex Legends, of course, as a game, as a competitive game as well, really good, really fun. Is it really fair that you could be playing a World Championship final? You could be playing for the biggest title that you can get in the game, and people are playing with different controllers. People are playing with keyboard and mouse, people are playing with controllers. Shouldn't you have a level playing field at that high level of the game?
Difficult question to answer, actually.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think this is fine, because the majority of people that play competitive games on that level are playing on mouse and keyboard. I don't know the exact numbers, but I know that the majority does play the mouse and keyboard.
Yeah, it's
So
a
if
lot
you-
for sure. Yeah.
So if you're going to make it mouse and keyboard exclusive, you're shutting down a number of the people, which is already a vast minority. So that would only hurt you. If you make it specific, then PlayStation and the controller games are going to be way more scaled down. You have to host different competitions for it. I don't think it's like practically feasible to do it as a business, from a business point of view.
So you feel like even if controller players get a significant advantage, which Imperial Hal has shown, it is still fair for them to pick up a controller and win a world championship when people are basically playing with something that gives them less of an advantage.
I mean, what stops the other people from getting a controller and playing, right? Like, just the simple fact that if you do think it has given you so much of an advantage, why not pick up the controller yourself? You're stubborn enough to play on the mouse and keyboard, and you keep going on it because it's your like standard go-to to play it, right? I don't see an issue with it. I feel like it's an individual issue rather than a competitive issue.
Okay,
What are your thoughts?
interesting. I mean, I do feel like you make a really good point there, and that's also why it probably also is and should be allowed, right? Like, nothing is stopping people from picking up a controller, and if it's really that good, everyone would be playing controller. And it's not because everyone is so stubborn they're not picking it up, it is that good. No, that's not the case. It always comes down to like very minimal differences, and like I said before, there are arguments for both sides. Yes, the controller gets aim assist, but you can do so much less with a controller compared to mouse and keyboard when it comes to movement, when it comes to like just even looking around, right? You're much more precise with a mouse than you are with a little joystick. So arguments for both sides for sure. I also think it should just be able to stay like this, where you can either use a controller if you want, you can use mouse and keyboard. I just think the feat of Imperial Hell is a really cool one to hang up in your room. It's like, fuck yeah, bitches. I was the first guy to get 2 different championships with different input devices. That is a really amazing one, yeah.
I actually have a theory, and I'm not gonna explain why I think this is true, but I'm gonna let you give your thoughts about it.
Okay.
The perfect player, like the best player there will ever be, like the perfect player as in he doesn't make mistakes, would play better on a PC than on a controller.
This is Apex Legends specific, or doesn't really matter? Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Any game.
The perfect player would play better on mouse and keyboard.
The perfect player plays better on mouse and keyboard than on a controller.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Because I feel like if you're gonna really stretch it out of proportion, the perfect player, if we're talking about the perfect player, this guy would play on 3000 like sensitivity, snaps on everyone's heads because he's perfect, right? So he doesn't miss. And you can never challenge that because he's like so precise, so fast with the mouse, snaps on everyone's head, doesn't miss a bullet. I agree. I feel like if you lay them side to side, the skill ceiling, I guess, of mouse and keyboard is higher than a controller. Yeah. But the aim assist is a thing, I guess. But yeah, that is disregarded at that point.
For a perfect player, I actually think aim assist especially on a controller, would actually be a downfall rather than a benefit, because when the game was still cool, I need to add that, otherwise people will call me cringe. I played Fortnite, and when I played Fortnite on the PlayStation, you could sometimes, if you stand still and you watch at like an enemy in distance, your camera would automatically move a little bit towards the opposing character because the aim assist was already on. You're just not shooting, right? On a PC, that doesn't happen. So on a PC, you're way more accurate in your shots. But on a controller, it helps you, but it can sometimes fuck you over as well. Because if it's already moving to the right and you move to the right as well, you might go too far off. If
you're gonna overshoot. Exactly. That is true.
Exactly. So it's both a blessing and a curse. It's almost like a toaster curse.
Nice. I like that. How would playing League of Legends on a controller look like? I thought about it before we started talking about this subject. Like, I wanted to first compare it to League, but I was thinking, how the fuck does that even look like? Do you think that would even be remotely possible? Like, I've seen players play League of Legends with the most like obscene shit. There's this like trackpad laptop Azir player who's like masters. But there's also like people who play with like the track ball on the mouse instead of like moving a mouse, play with a ball and they like move it with their thumb. Is it a thing yet? Has it been done?
I Googled people playing League of Legends on a controller, and I see like 6 videos. Boxbox played it on a gamepad, on a controller, on an Xbox controller. Panzer Dragon, oh my god, that guy's still alive. He played.
He's alive. He's not relevant though. He's still alive.
Oh, you okay?
Sorry.
Yeah, there's this guy who played League on like the hero guitar.
What?
No way. Okay, wait. I'm gonna send you this link.
That's bigger. All right. I'm gonna have to look after because we
need to watch this after.
Yeah.
Just look at the thumbnail, though. Look at the thumbnail.
Wait. I have to look at the thumbnail. What the fuck? He plays it on the guitar. That's so fucking cool. How does that even work, man? How do you even get to that idea? You just one time you play Get 'em League, you're like angry, like fuck this. You see your guitar in the corner, you're like yes, that's the key.
But if he plays Yumi, he's cancelled because that's not fair.
True. Yeah, fuck him. But yeah, I know that I always used to play a shitload of Smite back in like 2014, 2015, but my laptop never really could handle it. And I also had a PS4 at the time, and then they released Smite for PS4 as well. But that's really different because it's like third-person perspective. So it's really easy to convert mouse and keyboard controls to a controller control when you're at third person. But top-down, I feel like it's basically impossible to ever get to close to the same level as a controller player or a keyboard and mouse player will be.
Come again?
So, for a top-down game like League of Legends, I feel like it's nearly impossible for a controller player to get close to the level that a keyboard and mouse player will be.
Yeah, 100%. It's way more accurate.
Yeah.
I think mouse and keyboard will always be superior. I think in general it is superior, but perhaps I am proven wrong with especially Apex. I also saw some guy like reply for Apex is like a spray and pray kind of game, so it actually works really well for aim assist, so it might be game specific.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the debate is not over even though they said it is. I don't think the debate is over. It will never be. It's the same thing as like, is the debate ever over between Xbox and PlayStation? PlayStation is better, but still there are people that are going to say Xbox, you know?
Yeah.
So,
poor
but
Xbox. They've fallen
regardless-
off big time.
it is king shit.
It is king shit. Shout out to Imperial Hell. That's fucking awesome. ThomSonic, we've reached the hour mark again. 4 minutes 30 in after as well. Normally, I always start rambling on the outro. Do you want to do it this time?
Yo, I can do this?
You can
I've
do the
honestly-
outro.
Okay, I've waited for this for so long. Guys, I really want to thank you all for listening or watching our podcast on either YouTube or Spotify. You can do it again next week. We don't know which day because we like to diverse a little bit. Sometimes on a Sunday, sometimes on a Tuesday, sometimes on a Monday. But we will definitely be there every week. I want to thank you, Rose, for being here, talking with me. I always have an incredible amount of fun together with you. And if you want to see more on the Castigers, go to those channels, go to our Twitter, follow us, send some love, and perhaps even conversations or topics you would like to hear us speak about. For now, love you all, thank you, and we will see you all next time.
See ya.
Bye.